Rainbow Weaver. Rainbow Weaver. Story by Linda Elovitz Marshall. Illustrations by Elisa Chavarri. High in the mountains, above Lake Atitlan, Ischel watched her mother weave thread into fabric as beautiful as a rainbow. The fabric had blues as clear as the sky, and reds as bright as the flowers, and yellows as gold as the corn. "Mama," Ischel asked, "may I weave too?" Her mother shook her head. "Not now, Ischel," she answered. "This cloth is for the market. If it brings a good price, it will pay for your school and books." In and out, in and out, Ischel's mother and neighbors wove on backstrap looms. They wove as their mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers had done before them, as Mayan women had done for more than 2,000 years. After a while, Ischel asked, "Mama, may I weave now?" Again, her mother shook her head. "Count threads with me, my love. I'll show you how we make designs." Ischel and her mother counted together. "Hun kai oxi kachi." With each additional color, the cloth grew longer and the design prettier. Ischel reached for some thread. "Please," she asked. "No, my love," answered her mother. "You are still too young, and there is no extra thread." Ischel crossed her arms and studied the hard-packed dirt of the yard. "I want to weave. I want to pay for my books and school too," she thought, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she walked towards the milpa, the field where the villagers planted corns, beans, and squash. Plastic bags littered the path. Day after day, more bags were tossed from windows of passing vehicles or discarded by people returning from the market. No one could use all the bags, and there was nowhere to put them. Pushing the bags aside, Ischel gathered branches and sticks. Some of the sticks were long and some were short. She carried the sticks and branches home and then tied them together. "What are you doing?" a neighbor asked. "Making a loom," Ischel answered. Her mother smiled. "But Ischel," she said, "we don't have any extra thread." "I know, Mama," she answered. "I won't take any." Ischel tied one of her loom to a tree. Then she gathered tall blades of pajon grass. Sitting on the ground, Ischel joined the blades of grass together by knotting the ends of one blade to the end of another until she made a long chain. Then she pushed the batten over and under, back and forth, turning the blades of grass into fabric. When the fabric was finished, it was too small to be a doormat or even a placemat. It was too scratchy to wear as a bracelet. Worst of all, it was dull, greenish white. The fabric was far too small, far too scratchy, and far too dull for anyone to buy. Ischel, I knew it would never sell. Ischel knew it would never sell. Disappointed, Ischel took another walk. Climbing the path villagers took to bring sheep up the mountain. She saw a clump of black wool hanging from a branch. Ishchel tucked the wool under her belt. She noticed more clumps of black and white wool dotting the grasses, sticks, and plants. Ishchel gathered this wool and tucked it under her belt too. At home, Ishchel turned and twisted the wool, spinning it into a long, thick strand of yarn. Then, over and under, back and forth, she pushed the batten and wove the yarn into fabric. Ishchel looked at what she had woven. The fabric was thick and heavy. The colors were boring. Tiny pieces of grass and dirt were stuck in the fabric. The weaving was far too thick, far too boring, and far too dirty for anyone to buy. Tears rolled down Ishchel's cheek. There's no way my weaving will sell in the market, she thought. No way I can help. Wiping her tears, Ishchel headed towards the milpa again. Along the way, she kicked aside a plastic bag. Red, purple, orange, green, yellow, and blue bags were everywhere. They were in the fields, drooping from branches and clogging roads and ditches. There were so many bags, it was hard for her to walk. Angry, Ishchel picked up a bag. She ripped it into shreds. Suddenly, she had an idea. Ishchel gathered bag after colorful bag. She took the bags home, washed them, and hung them to dry. Now what are you doing? Another neighbor asked. Ishchel smiled. You'll see, she answered. By the next day, the bags were dry. Ishchel cut each bag into a long, thin strip. She tied the strips together, sitting at her loom. Ishchel pushed the batten over and under, back and forth, weaving until she had used all the strips. The fabric was short, but it was clean and colorful. It had blues as clear as the sky, reds as bright as the flowers, and yellows as gold as corn. The fabric looked like a beautiful rainbow, almost as pretty as the weavings of her mother, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers before her. Wondering what else she could make with the plastic bags, Ishchel headed back to the milpa. She gathered more bags. The path looked cleaner and the countryside prettier. When Ishchel returned home, her mother and neighbors were waiting with colorful plastic bags. We saw what you were doing, said a neighbor. We wanted to help. And without the bags everywhere, our village looks pretty again, said another neighbor. Ishchel thanked them. Then she handed the weaving to her mother and said, "My first rainbow." Her mother hugged her close. "It's beautiful, my love," she said. "Thank you, Mama," Ishchel said. "But do you think it will sell?" "Let's take it to the market and see." At the market the next day, Ishchel and her mother watched as people walked by the stalls. Finally, a woman stopped and picked up Ishchel's weaving. "Did you make this?" When Ishchel nodded, the woman smiled. Her weaving sold, and for a very good price. Ishel beamed with happiness. Now she could help pay for her books and school. And like her mother, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers before her, Ishel had woven a rainbow. The end.